how I look today from the chat. No, I actually forgot my glasses at home, so today's gonna be a fun day. But anyway, thank you for being here. We're entering a new week. I think it's gonna be a good one. Maybe. I mean, we sort of moved past, the COVID aid bill. If Biden wants some praise from the media and from Democrats, he has to start working on something new, right? And we have an idea of what that might look like, although I am, in the same way as I have been with virtually every one of his promises, entirely unsure how they plan to actually get it done without doing some things that they have yet to promise that they will actually do or demonstrate any reason we would believe that they're actually going to do it. But we will have that news for you. What do we have for you today? Well, it's Monday, so we have Francesca Fiorentini, who's going to be joining us on the full show in just a little bit. Also, we were sort of forced by the Oprah Meghan Markle interview last week to pause on, Jay Hitchcock, welcome to Tier 1 membership, to pause on our promised top 10 list for our Tier 2 and Tier 3 members, the top 10 Pop-Tarts ever. So we will be doing that this week. I'm going to be doing it solo, a quick little rundown, and I will say, I'm going to give credit to the audience for a last-minute inclusion on that list. So that'll be coming up a little bit later on today. If you become a Tier 2 or Tier 3 member, you can get access to not only the one that's coming out today, but also we now have, I don't know, there's something like 12, and they're a lot of fun. Sometimes politics, sometimes not. Mouse Dragon, of course, you're already Mouse Dragon. How would I deny you, Mouse Dragon? But anyway, we got a ton of news to get to. We're going to talk a little bit about the future of the vaccination effort. And I'm going to, in some ways, carry on a bit of the work that John Oliver was doing over this weekend. Wanted to let you know, this isn't news, just a reminder. If you have not already watched Last Week Tonight from this Sunday, you definitely should. I'm a big fan of it anyway. Look, maybe not in the building is sending in a super chat about it literally right now. Thank you. So I've said for a long time I'm a big fan of John Oliver. I don't know if that's like cool or whatever. I don't give a damn. He's really good. He does amazing work. He talks about topics that other people in the news either don't or that talk about it a little bit, but he goes in depth and really makes the case on these topics. And whether he ever like actually pitches himself as a progressive or whatever, his solutions to problems are always in that vein. Maybe not as much as we might be, but I think, considering the context and his age and everything, I think he's doing pretty good. But anyway, this week he went after Tucker Carlson and basically said a lot of the stuff that we say. My theory is that Last Week Tonight is like the perfect crystallization of basically whatever the Damage Report has been talking about for that week, with, him, and he's really talented and his amazing production, and they do a great job. But anyway, he also found some amazing old footage of Tucker Carlson that is just great. It is amazing. You gotta watch it. But we're gonna be continuing that a little bit later on today on the show in the area of vaccines. Why is it that Republican men don't wanna take the vaccine? Everybody is so stumped. Except I'm not stumped. It's something that we've been talking about for a few months here. So we're gonna go over that. When are we getting the Emma emoji? I don't think that we can do the Emma emoji at least until she comes back on the show. It would be a little bit weird. But anyway, Leyu, thank you for the Fox, appreciate that. Tom says, hi, John. English Breakfast Tea Dragon here, saying hi from the UK. Hello to the UK. How's everything going in the UK? You guys getting people vaccinated? I know it was pretty rough there. Have you had strawberry strudels? Of course I've had strawberry strudels. But anyway, let's see. What else do we have to talk about? Because we got a weird random mix of news. Some of it good, some of it weird. Oh, here's a good one. I don't care about the Grammys. I didn't give a damn about anything that happened on the Grammys. It's not interesting to me. And barely interested this year even in the Oscars, which normally I do care about. My wife is an actress. We both like movies, so we generally watch a lot of the movies that'll end up getting nominated for Oscars. It's a big thing we do each year. This year, because of the pandemic, I didn't do that at all. I watched a ton of movies, not a lot of Oscar quality movies. So I don't really care about that. But the one that I do care about is a nomination for Best Supporting Actress for Maria Bakalova, who was in the Borat subsequent movie film and did an amazing job. I mean, Obviously there's quite a bit of politics to that movie. The whole thing with Rudy Giuliani was a big thing. So look, that made it more interesting for me. But I also watched the movie, and the idea that someone, especially a pretty unknown actress, would come in to try to match Sacha Baron Cohen, I think it's difficult to come up with something in terms of entertainment that would be more terrifying than attempting to do that. Or they would have a higher bar. Like, how easy would it be for even talented improv people to mess that up and not quite get the vibe and all that? But she did an amazing job. And so, very glad to see her get that supporting actress nomination. I assume that there's probably like zero chance it will result in the actual award, but pretty awesome right out the gate to get that, and very well deserved for all that work. For his part, Giuliani did get a nomination as well, but not an Oscar. He got nominated for 2 Razzies, one for worst, worst just for his presence in the movie. But my favorite part is that him and Bakalova got nominated for worst screen combo. And think about how bad Giuliani has to be that you take him, you put him with someone who's going to earn an Oscar for their work, and he's so bad that he can totally offset her amazingness and still result in it being a bad combo. That's almost even admirable at that point. So congratulations to both nominees, even if for very different awards. Sea Salt Chip says, good morning, John. I got the second dose of the Pfizer vaccine on Friday. Side effects were only a little more noticeable than the first. That's good to hear. I've heard that the second can be kind of rough. I'm looking, forward to getting mine. I have a cough right now. I swear it's not from that. But anyway, let's see. Emmanuel, if you're not interested in John Oliver, then there's nothing I can say. It's unfortunate because he's very good. Greg says no one really cares about the Grammys. That is definitely not true. I don't care about them, but that does not mean that they're not popular or watched or whatever. Zane says, I get my first vaccine tomorrow. I'm so excited. Very good to see that, Zane. Congratulations. Someone does need to fix that light before me or behind me. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't reach it, and even if I could, I wouldn't be able to fix it. Please hit the like button if you haven't already, everybody. Let's see. Jeremy's quoting Jon Stewart on Tucker Carlson. Was that back in 2004? Really? It was that far back. Unfortunately, he got even worse since then. Matt says, hashtag sack Tucker Carlson. No, I mean, the thing is, I think it's important for people like John Oliver to make it very clear that what Tucker's about a lot of different things, the stupid melange of what the right is about, but the vast, vast majority of what Tucker is about is white supremacy. John Oliver covering it, or us covering it as we do from time to time, is not going to take him down. They didn't take him down when Media Matters showed him on the Bubba the Love Sponge thing calling Iraqis semi-literate primitive monkeys. They don't care. That is what they want out of him, is saying things like that. So we're not going to get rid of him. That's not the goal, and it's not going to be the outcome. But what it could be is people knowing who he is. He is dangerous, not just because of the dangerous things he says, but because there are people who don't know it, and there are people who cover for him. There are people who go on his show and lend credibility to him that isn't earned and is, in fact, counterproductive to people understanding who he actually is. People got eventually that Bill O'Reilly was a bad guy. With Sean Hannity, it's very obvious. Laura Ingraham, it's very obvious. With Tucker Carlson, he's a little bit more skilled in masking the white supremacy. And so we need to make clear that people understand that. And so I'm glad that John Oliver did it. That's why we return to it as, as insufferable as I find Tucker Carlson, as little interested as I am in actually playing videos of him. That's why, on Friday we talked about him and the military thing. We didn't even play any because I can't stand it. But people do need to understand how dangerous his program is and what the goal of his program is. RJL says, Block Dragon here. Thank you for keeping me sane. For I was out of work for the last year. Just got hired for a new job starting Wednesday. That is awesome news. Glad to hear that. Dragon Song says she was a complete boss in that movie. She was hilarious in that movie. I absolutely loved her. Kyle the Mighty says, John, you should watch Judas and the Black Messiah. I should. The issue is that while I didn't watch a lot of the Oscar movies, my wife did. Usually I would be at work or when I'm doing my writing group, and she watched a bunch of them. And the thing is, like, when am I going to watch a movie like that not with my wife? Like, I'm not going to watch it at work or whatever. So, I don't know. There's a lot of movies like that that, I don't know. Should watch Nomadland, Promising Young Woman. Zane says, after I almost died from pneumonia in 8/19 on a ventilator, 3 to 5 ICU days was the most terrifying experience I've ever had in my 40 plus years. Vax me. Definitely vax Zane. That sounds terrible. Throw something at the light, Jess says. Jess, by the way, I am eagerly awaiting the delivery from the P.O. box. Sorry that it's taking so long. Rob Shively says, I'm feeling stimulated. I'm glad. I seek only to stimulate you all. Chaotic Dreamer says, John, I love you, your guests, the community. All amazing. You keep things fresh, light, and funny. Best wishes. Enjoy my Google survey money. Thank you. Thank you. We just try to help. That's what we try to do. Okay, so let's jump into some more news. Let's see, what do we have? Here's an interesting one. So we're going to be talking a little bit about Cuomo and, you know, the quest to get him to actually face some accountability for what he's done. And we're going to be doing that on the show. And in particular, what are some of the most prominent Democrats of the country actually saying when it comes to Cuomo? But first, what do the voters think? And I hadn't seen any polling data about this up until now. And I do find it very curious. 35% want him to resign. 50% say that he shouldn't. 15% are undecided. So if, hypothetically, all of the undecideds flipped, it would be 50-50. And that is really interesting. Because, look, having 1 out of 3 voters think that you should leave office is obviously, it's not a good thing. But a lot of those probably would have never supported you anyway, so do you really care? And from Cuomo's point of view, look, a lot of prominent Democrats have been pushing for him to resign. But if he looks out there at polling data like this and sees that it might not hurt him if he were to run for re-election, is he going to resign with numbers like that? I don't know. And you might think, well, sure, but he still has to face the loss of confidence that the party seems to have in him. Sure, maybe, but in like 3 months, in 6 months, let's say that he just puts his head down, waits and sees what happens with the investigation or whatever. And if the investigation doesn't come out with like far more than we already know, if he just chooses not to resign, assuming he doesn't actually go to jail or whatever, and I know one has been put forward for that, this to me reads as he's not going to resign. I mean, he's already gone several days after so many Democrats have been pushing for him to. So anyway, we're going to talk about it a little bit more with Francesca. I'll see what she thinks, but his favorability's gone down a little bit, but he's still seen 43% view him favorably. For governor, I'm not even sure that that's that bad, really, at this point. Oh my God, it is raining like mad out there. I don't know if you can hear this. How many dragons does it take to change a light bulb? We may never know. Wayne Sugar says, you're right, John. John Oliver did that bit about Tucker's facial expression just like you did last week with Cenk. Thank you. Well, I mean, we were hardly the first. People have been pointing that out for years, but I do appreciate that. Oh my God. What is going on with LA lately? We've had a lot of rain recently, actually. Also, just got my car washed yesterday. Oh, can I tell you a little anecdote about my car wash? So I haven't gotten my car, I've like gone through the car wash once or twice during the pandemic, but I haven't taken it and actually gotten it washed since before the pandemic. And the interior, like, it might have been vacuumed once or twice in the years that I've had my car. For the purpose of this story, you need to understand that my car is a Scion IQ. It was the little one that they sold that they don't sell anymore. Turns out little cars like that, not popular in the US, but I really like them. For me, it's like the closest thing a car can be to a motorcycle. And also the parking on my street's really bad. So if I didn't have a car like that, I wouldn't be able to park very often. Anyway, I decide after a year of the pandemic where my car was basically full to my shoulders of leaves, dog fur, and like assorted dirt and everything, I'm gonna do something I've literally never done before. I'm gonna get my interior of my car detailed. I've literally never done that. I've owned 3 cars and leased another, and never have I done that. And for obvious reasons. It's not cheap to do it or whatever, but I really wanted it. I'm sick of living in squalor in my car, so I'm gonna get it done. So I go to this the car wash that I always do, and I pull up, and the guy comes up and asks what I want, and I say I'll have the ultra wash and the interior detailing. And the guy paused, and then like points to the sign and says, "Those are the prices." And like waits for me to be like, "Oh, whoops, I guess I won't be doing that." And I don't know if it was owning me based on the fact that I was wearing like a hoodie and ripped jeans, or if it was him saying, "Why would any sane person detail your shitty little car?" I don't know which it was. I know that it was an insult. But anyway, I got it done, and they did an amazing job. It looks like better than it's looked since before I bought it. And it was a couple years used at that point, but it does really look good. But man, I felt like crap after that. Like, look at you with your stupid little car. Who would get this detailed? Like, sorry, I don't own a Bentley. What do you want out of me? Not everybody in LA's rich. Anybody. Man Money, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. First Go says, Judas and the Black Messiah was counterproductive. Shot game. Take a shot every time. Fred Hampton quoted Mao Zedong as if Mao was a good guy. I didn't see it, so I can't say. Like I said, I've basically seen none of them. California drivers do lose all sense in the rain. God only knows what's going to end up happening with that. Let's see. Joe Willis says, back for the pre-show and live show after missing Thursday and Friday, but it was for a good reason. Got my first Moderna shot. That is an acceptable excuse. Daniel says, here's money for the intro. Forget the light bulb. I know, I really need to do that. I keep forgetting. I really want to do that. Laura Campbell, welcome to Tier 2 membership. Enjoy those top 10 lists. We got the top 10 Pop-Tarts ever coming up soon. Yeah, I miss the Scions. I really do. I wish that they still made mine. Like, in a few years, I would buy a new one to replace it. Like, what's wrong with just a little car? Like, most people are not hauling lumber. And if you don't have a bunch of kids, like, how big of a car do most people actually need just for commuting? And yet they bring this car, and it's pretty good. Nobody bought it, apparently. DDM Star, thank you. Let's see. Maybe he was letting you know they overcharge for those services. Well, almost certainly. Well, first of all, I think the reason he asked was, in theory, if I thought it was like $20 and then they charged me for more, I could have like freaked out, and maybe they're trying to avoid having people freak out. That's entirely possible. Whether they overcharge, it does seem expensive for, you know, like an hour and a half of someone's labor. That seems like a lot of money. But there's materials, I guess, too. In comparison to other places, it was not overcharged. Like, I looked at multiple places before I got it done. Chub Toad, congrats on the vaccine. My car is parked outside. I don't have a garage. Yes, I was Pretty Woman. That is exactly what I was. And someday, someone's going to like hold a car out to me, and I'm going to reach for it, and then they're going to slam the door, and I'm going to giggle. That's what's going to happen. Fridge Dragon says, do you know anything about Marcus Flowers, who plans to run against Marjorie Taylor Greene? No, not a ton politically. I know what the district is like. It's pretty rough. Just Freaking Ortega says he's just pissed his job is to clean all those cars. I bet he was trying to get you to change your mind. I mean, look, like I've worked a lot of, you know, like service jobs like that, not car washing, although I did wash my grandfather's car for money for like literally years and years. But he wasn't the one doing the actual washing of it or whatever. Leave a $5 bill for them on seat. You will get a good car wash. Well, I mean, I did tip the guy. I did, and he did a really good job. Okay. Engine Fair says, rain, sound, politics, and stories. Just loop it for 10 hours and you can compete with sleep and relax tracks on YouTube. I think that's a good thing, although I'm not really sure. David Kite says, get a Zoom, LOL. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see, what else? Okay. The headline story, though, is the next phase of the right-wing media war. So, for a very long time, you had Fox News. You had other things that sort of led to Fox News. You had Breitbart and Drudge and 4chan and stuff like that, but you had Fox News. Then you had OAN and Newsmax, which wanted to compete with Fox News, and that was a difficult proposition. They would occasionally get a boost by Donald Trump attacking Fox News because, like, Chris Wallace asked him a tough question or something. But it wasn't until the election that Newsmax and OAN had any chance whatsoever of taking some of their viewership. What happened was Fox was very, very deferential to Trump and his lies about the election after the election. But they seemed a little bit worried about some of the demonstrable lies that might get them sued. So that provided an opening through which especially Newsmax was happy to run. And they spread even crazier lies. Now, eventually they got scared of lawsuits as well. But even once they started to back off telling the lies themselves, they would still bring on people that Trump fans could trust would tell those lies. And that was pretty successful for them in getting people to switch over from Fox to them. The Fox hosts were starting to begrudgingly admit as we got towards inauguration that Trump had lost. There were millions of people who didn't want to hear that, and so they started listening to Newsmax more. Now, apparently, following inauguration, that hasn't really worked out so well for Newsmax. Overall, people are turning away from the news like they normally do after elections. You know, we're seeing that ourselves. But even more so, they're starting to go back to Fox. And Fox staffers are having a bit of a laugh about it after, you know, like there were times when Sean Hannity was like losing in the ratings to Newsmax, which seems crazy from the point of view of like a year ago. But a Fox News staffer says, "I laughed when I saw the news about the drop. Everyone panicked over a sugar high. Nothing about it was sustainable, yet people think it's the new normal. Management panicked off of a small period of time and dismantled the entire lineup." Well, look, Fox did change a lot of things as a result of that. They basically made the whole network the Tucker Carlson show. Other people might have read too much into it too. I mean, maybe even me. Now, I'm not ready to say that Newsmax won't be able to compete in the future. This Fox staffer seems to indicate that that was a one-time surge and that's it. But I wonder about that. Now, they talk about how Newsmax is amateur hour, which they totally are. My God, is it amateurish. It's worse than most YouTube channels. And it is true that Newsmax has to pay carriage fees to cable operators, whereas Fox actually gets money from them. So financially, that's definitely in Fox's favor. But I wonder about the post-election thing. Like, that is hurting everybody. It might, though, be hurting Newsmax more because in addition to the election being over, Trump has gone away. Now, with Trump not around, Fox has filled the gap with demonizing the vaccine and Dr. Seuss and that sort of thing. And Newsmax has done a bit of that too. But with that sort of material, why not just go for Fox News at that point? The competitive advantage for Newsmax was supposed to be they will lick the boot of Trump even more than Fox. But there's no boot right now. There's nothing to lick. But there will be something to lick at some point. Trump is eventually going to come back. He's going to come back and probably try to cause a lot of hell for the Republican Party, which might be a bridge too far for some Fox hosts, but probably won't be a bridge too far for Newsmax because they're just there to lick the boot. In addition, Trump is going to come back and he is going to say absolutely insane things. And Newsmax has shown that there's no lie so crazy that they won't trumpet it. So I think, look, if I was Fox, I would be happy that the previous order has reasserted itself, certainly. But I would be at least a little bit worried about the future because I don't think that that surge that you saw isn't reproducible. I think that, an environment during the run-up to the midterms, or especially a few years from now, if Trump does run, especially if he ran as like a third-party candidate or something, where Newsmax and OAN would be, I think, far more willing to give Trump whatever he wants or needs at that point than Fox would. And so we'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong, and we might not know either way for a while, but I wouldn't get too relaxed if I was Fox. Trump is still out there, and he still does have a lot of influence over where that audience goes. Okay, let's see. Loki says, here's to you, fellow Scion lover. Best little car I've ever had. My Scion XA finally went. I got myself a gorgeous blue 2016 Scion IM. That's cool. It's the only one I've ever had. But I do like it. I wish that there was, were other small cars like it. Wayne Sugahara says, car detailing classism next on TDR and last week tonight. Okay. Wait, what time is it? Okay. Okay, 9:42, so we're going to have to wrap this up. Kyle Cushing, welcome to Tier 1 membership. Enjoy the emojis and all of that. Thank you, everybody, for being here, by the way. Really excited to get into the week, especially since we have Francesca here. Should be a lot of fun. I'm going to go get myself some coffee. You've got an opportunity to do that, too. But whether you stay here on YouTube or head over to Twitch, I'll be seeing you in just a few.